All right, let's talk about Baker Mayfield of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who, listen, the guy keeps getting these fourth quarter comeback wins, but honestly, he's just playing great football. Like, obviously, the fourth quarter comeback stuff is what's getting the headlines, but, like, he's playing a great 60 minutes in a rough situation with a lot of offensive line injuries and a lot of wide receiver injuries. So, let's get into it. Starting off with this play, it's a zone coverage concept. I've circled Mike Evans in yellow because that's what you want to look towards on third and 4, right? Well, on this play, not so much. Sauce Gardner, poor Mike Evans, feels like, obviously went down with an injury, and that makes things worse. But when he was playing, it felt like every week he's going up against a great corner. A.J. Terrell week 1, Derek Stingley Jr. week 2, and now Sauce Gardner week 3. Here, Gardner kind of all over him. All the way over there, something has developed and gotten open, but again, this is so difficult for quarterbacks, and sometimes people will look at still frames and say, oh wow, the quarterback missed a guy down the field, like, horrible vision, but like, again, Baker did the right thing, looking towards his first read, has to now try and get all the way over there, and the issue with that is when you start to get to your next reads, sometimes that's when time runs out. However, Mayfield goes through his progressions while navigating the pocket, and that's something that I think has really improved of his game since he got to Tampa Bay. Everyone likes to say, Browns are stupid, what are the Browns doing? But I think one of the real, and listen, fair enough, right, with how bad things went for them, but I really do feel like Baker's rushing has been a real part of why he's legitimately become a better player since he has been in Tampa Bay. He's been better than even his best in Cleveland. Like, this plays another one where you see that it's a 3rd down and 9. They're on the outside of field goal range right here. They want to try and see if they can get the first down. Going to be a zone blitz that the Jets are in. And when this play begins with the extra pressure, nothing gets open. And Baker, again, at this point, you're like, oh, maybe just throw the ball away. Maybe this isn't worth it. But that's just not his style. And, he's talked about how part of why he has really enjoyed playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is he felt like, when he was with the Panthers, when he was with the Browns, they were trying to get this aspect out of him. Hey, bad things can happen if you do this. Don't be this player who's trying to make these things happen. But watch him juke out one defender. He's going to pump fake to get over here. At this point, you're like, can he get the corner? Should he even try to get the corner? No, just slide, right? I'm sure Hugh Jackson in Baker Mayfield's rookie year would say just slide in these moments. But that's just not who he is, and he's going to pick up this first down. And again, yes, there is the potential danger of obviously injuries, which can are always concerning. It seems like he has a new issue every week, getting banged up some way. And also something like this, where it's a 3rd down and 9 play right here. Mayfield takes the snap, again, heavy pressure, nothing gets open. He tries to make something happen. He's getting tackled, and as he's getting tackled, he's going to do something that you're like, this is just not a smart idea. He tries to flip the ball to Rachaad White, which the ball ends up popping out. Tampa Bay recovers, but like that could have been bad if you gave the Jets the ball in field goal range already here late in the half. So he has that part of his game, right? I should mention, I don't know for sure that's what he was doing. It looks like it's what he was doing, but the ball got knocked out as he, either way, he wasn't protecting the football, was still, trying to keep a play alive while getting tackled. So it's just an aspect of who he is, but I do think that the pros have outweighed the cons here. In Cleveland, his career high in rushing yards for a season was 165. He was not much of a runner, but last year he had 378, and he's already at 116 after 3 games this year. He's on pace for over 650, so clearly he's made that part of his game, and it's worked out. And heading over to this play, Tampa Bay's kind of used that a little bit. Like you see right here, they're going to have him move outside the pocket. They're going to have a design rollout, and a tough design rollout, as he's going to be going against his body. You're at the hash marks on the offense's right, so you want a little bit more room to work with going to the left. But the issue with that, when Mayfield takes the snap, you see how awkwardly he's going to have to make this throw. Look at this position. This is not typically what you want, and again, for some teams, they're saying we don't even want a quarterback to have to try and make something like that. However, Mayfield is able to make that play, and he's able to get a big completion right there. He's an athletic player. Like, just because he's not that big doesn't mean he's not athletic, and he can make these really nice plays. So you're definitely seeing that. And I will say as well, I think that, again, the numbers haven't been spectacular for him this season, but I think they could be better than you would than you might think just watching the tape. Like there was a lot of this against the Jets. You see, it's going to be a zone coverage concept. You have Ryan Miller running this route, which again they're down the depth chart, right? But watch what happens. Also, 3rd and 16. Mayfield's going to take the snap. He's going to look down the field, fires down the field, and there is a, there's a window. Like, again, maybe not the best defense by the Jets, but it's still going to have to take a perfect throw for this to be complete. And they got the perfect throw, but ultimately wasn't able to. It would have been a bit of a tough catch. Like, I'm not going to crush the receiver. Again, we're talking about a depth player here, right? But it was an opportunity where if Mike Evans is still in the game, he makes that catch and they pick up the big gain, right? So you had some other opportunities, other plays like that. And now let's get into crunch time. So, everyone's going to talk about the final drive, but there was actually a really important play prior to that final drive that ultimately ended up kind of backfiring with the blocked field goal. But you see the Buccaneers are up 6 points with 3.5 minutes left. Once again, it's a designed rollout. Mayfield takes a snap, fakes the handoff, looks over here. And, honestly, this is not a designed run. This is a designed passing play, but he just looks down the field and says, you know what? Like, I have an opportunity. Let's see if I can pick up some yards right here on a 2nd and 7, at least get the first down. And watch two things. First, watch how quick he moves, but also watch the blocking by Tampa Bay. Again, Jason Light, the GM of the Buccaneers, has talked a lot about after some misses early on in his career, the Antonio Brown situation and how that kind of blew up. He's made a real effort to go after high-character guys. How many teams have receivers late in the game when it feels kind of wrapped up, still blocking that well into the play? It's some, like not zero, right? But it just goes to show those little things really do matter because that put them in field goal range. That field goal got blocked in return for a touchdown. So now all of a sudden, we got to go over here. Who even knows what Baker Mayfield is thinking in this moment? Are you kidding me? We had this game wrapped up, and now all of a sudden we're down, and I have to try and make something happen? Well, Emeka Egbuka had a great game in this one. That's who Mayfield is going to look towards. One-on-one matchup on the top of the screen. Mayfield takes the snap. And this is just, again, as the old expression goes, it's not the X's and O's, it's the Jimmys and Joes. You got Emeka Egbuka out there, right? One-on-one matchup. This isn't open. Like, this isn't wide open or anything, but it is a one-on-one matchup down the field. That's a route you can often look towards. And also, look at this throw and catch. Perfectly on the money. Great catch by Egbuka. And they pick up not just a first down, but they get already on the outside of field goal range. Now, you don't want to have to kick a field goal from there, especially when one just got blocked. You want to be able to get close enough to have a high angle, right? And so that's when this play happened, which was just a smart play by the Buccaneers. You see the Jets are they're showing an all-out pressure, and you couldn't really see it a little bit too much. But my guess would be this was a play that Baker Mayfield could check into when you see the all-out pressure. Watch him then just go with the wide receiver screen to Sterling Shepard, who had a nice day for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's a really good depth player, and they were able to get closer field goal range, a field goal that they made. So ultimately, like, there's issues with the Buccaneers. Again, it's worth mentioning. Out of their 5 offensive linemen, their 3 best offensive linemen weren't playing in this game, and the 2 that were playing out of position due to, their center played tackle in college, and they wanted to have their best player at left tackle, so they're doing that, which means they moved their left guard over to center. Obviously, Mike Evans getting hurt, and we know Godwin's hurt, and we know Jalen McMillan's hurt, so 3 of the top 4 receivers were hurt towards the end there, and still being able to make the plays work. It's really impressive stuff, granted against the Jets, but it's still really impressive stuff, and Mayfield continues to just have a great year, still puts the ball in harm's way a little bit. That's part of his game. You're going to live with it, because the good will outweigh the bad, and it certainly is doing that through 3 weeks. And he's gotten very lucky with the turnover-worthy plays not resulting in actual turnovers so far. We'll see if that continues. But those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching. Also, before I go, I'll mention that I do have a movie channel as well. If you like movies, want to hear me talk about movies, I have some movie reviews and some other fun things. So you can check that out if you want. The link is in the description below for that.